All right, so today we're jumping right into a pretty intense debate that's been happening in the world of literary studies. Some people are even calling it a crisis, a real battle for the soul of how we read and talk about literature. And this quote, wow, it just perfectly captures this feeling, doesn't it? It's dramatic, for sure, but it gets at this growing sense that something has gone fundamentally off the rails in the way we study books. So what is this crisis, really? Well, you've got critics like Roger Kimball and others who are basically saying that the very integrity of literature, what makes it special, is being attacked from the inside, from within the academy itself. At the heart of it all is this one big accusation, that ideology has completely taken over. The argument is that the focus has shifted away from the art, the beauty and the craft of the work, and instead it's all about pushing a political agenda. Okay, so the main villain in this story, for a lot of these critics, is this broad concept called theory. Now look, theory didn't just pop up out of nowhere. It came from a genuine desire to ask some tough, important questions about power and language and society. But for its opponents, this whole approach just ended up changing the game completely. Critics like Geoffrey Harpham, they point to this project of theory as like ground zero. A big part of it was this idea of the death of the author. And what that means, basically, is that what the author intended to say was no longer the most important thing. And for these critics, that shift pulled all the attention away from the art itself, and in their view, it kind of killed what made literature so exciting in the first place. And this led to a really interesting kind of trippy concept called generalized textuality. The idea is that literature just got swallowed up. Imagine this giant, swirling, glossy vortex of words and information. Advertisements, speeches, historical documents, you name it. In this massive sea of texts, literature lost what made it special, its unique aesthetic specificity. It became just another drop in the ocean. So you can see how critics saw this as a domino effect, right? It wasn't just one thing. It was this whole chain reaction that they felt was really hurting the field. Literary study, in their eyes, became less about appreciating art and more about, political sparring, often wrapped up in really dense, almost impossible to read jargon. But this didn't just happen in a vacuum. Of course not. A really powerful counter-movement started to bubble up, one that called for a return to the aesthetic, a return to appreciating literature as literature. And this offered a completely different vision for what literary study should be. And this right here, this is the whole ballgame. It's a fundamental clash over why we even read books in the first place. Is the goal to change the world politically, or is it to understand other people? Is art just a tool of the powerful, or can it actually challenge power? You can see these two camps have totally different answers for everything. And this isn't just some abstract idea, There are real influential scholars pushing this. You've got Geoffrey Harpham, who's saying, hey, let's get back to the book itself. Then there's Helen Vendler, who's all about the unique magic of language and form. And a guy we're going to focus on a bit, George Levine, sees the aesthetic as this crucial protected space of freedom. And this quote from George Levine really gets to the heart of his vision. He imagines the aesthetic as a kind of protected space, a sanctuary, you could say, where we can step away from the constant grind of political and ideological battles to just experience something else. Yeah, he's really talking about freedom here. Think about it. A space for free play. Imagine a place for exploration, for creativity, for possibility. Levine believes that art offers one of the last places for that kind of open-ended thinking, and he's worried those spaces are shrinking in our world. Okay, I know what you might be thinking. This sounds like some stuffy academic debate that doesn't really affect me. But honestly, the fallout from this argument goes way beyond university walls. It really touches on how all of us think about and value art in our lives. So for someone like Levine, the aesthetic isn't about escaping reality. It's actually a super unique way of engaging with it. It all starts with this idea of disinterest. Now, that doesn't mean you don't care. It means you try to set aside your own baggage, your own biases, so you can really truly see something from another point of view. And from there, you get empathy. And you start to see how art can actually challenge power in ways you didn't expect. And really, this is the mic drop for this side of the argument. At the end of the day, they believe art's greatest power isn't about winning a political debate. It's about empathy. It's about giving us that vital sense of the other, connecting us to lives and feelings that are completely different from our own. And that brings us right back to the big, central question here. And it's not just for scholars, it's for every single one of us. When you pick up a book or stand in front of a painting, what are you really looking for? Are you looking for a tool for social change or a refuge from it? A weapon or a window into another soul? How you answer that, well, that changes everything.